Hi, everybody. How does it make you feel when you hear that a company like Palantir, a government contractor for data aggregation software, claims wanting to be a lifestyle brand, and that they attach the idea to the swag they sell in their online store? As a person previously involved in make and merge, hearing that, I felt the compulsion to pull by the thread. Hi, I'm Vlad. I'm from Belarus, and across time I used to work between branding and community management, from tech to a design education institution in Russia that might or might not have been described in terms of soft power. I was early in the thesis research when I was curious about the encroachment of private sovereignty into the nation state when I discovered that headline on Palantir's lifestyle brand. That claim implied a contrast that made it a curious entry point to engage with. And engage I did. Palantir's rhetoric of a lifestyle brand has been attached to the promotion of its merch, sold through their website, launched in mid-2024, or during the Brad summer, some might say. I'm some. When I see this line of ostensibly elevated basics, what jumps at me, besides the descriptions that the company's head of strategic engagement presented them through, is the similarity of color palette choices in this drop to ones I associate with the merch of early 2020s coffee shops, listening bars, and natural wine stores. Those spaces subsumed by Big Beige's reign of minimalism, when men wearing shirts of the same hues as the walls frequent between going to like tech house sets, which begs an assumption that unlike a brand like Armani, Palantir was not offering a complete lifestyle to live inside. It was suggesting itself as a new lifestyle marker, something for men frequenting coffee shops to proudly signal affiliation with. So mining for street cred to make Palantir palatable. Because those who were going to wear a Palantir clothing item were going to wear it if it were just an item with Palantir logo on it, or as they since called it, a core capsule, as opposed to more try-hard items. The merge has been a key tool in companies' courting of retail investors. That's ordinary individuals holding small amounts of its shares, who have made it the 5th most traded stock in the world, even as institutions in Wall Street invested less. It's impossible to know how much Palantir has been keeping track of this next community management professional, but with its limited merch drops and emphatic messaging, the company basically replicated her strategy.
You should recognize that this fan base that I have built are so hungry for me and my peers and our kind of slightly left world of pop dance music that they're hungry for us to succeed. And that doesn't mean that we have to do any pandering to any other side of the industry. We just have to do it for them. And we have to make them feel so special because they've championed me and us for so long. Yeah. And that's all we need to light a fire.
Inside or outside of Palantir's fandom, it becomes especially interesting to consider closely how the designs serve the company's normalization through 2 recent items. A Bordeaux post-Zuckerbergian hoodie, and a sweatshirt multiple industry people compared to the work by Virgil Abloh. I ordered the sweatshirt, by the way, and the package got stolen. My friend immediately was like, Palantir, gotta know where it is. If I may borrow from linguist Elena Semino, a metaphor is thinking about something in terms of something else, when a short-term mental representation connects to a long-held one. It's easy to see how the caption, Silicon Valley dropouts on the sweatshirt creates a metaphor for defiance. And the word ontology used in philosophy and systems architecture contributes to the metaphor for complexity. As conceptual metaphors become an integral part of an ideology, brand identity items become tools in making one. If Palantir has an ideological layer, it is directly shaped by puff screen print on the Bordeaux-colored French terry. A spring break trip to Switzerland was one of my top 3 ideas this year. My dad's bank account might disagree. But how else would I have encountered brain-rot face lettuce stickers on the wall of a vegetable patch in Davos, Switzerland, that hosts weekly seasonal veggie sales for tomatoes, cucumbers, and zucchini? which is also where Palantir annually constructs its pavilion for the World Economic Forum Summit, built by a company otherwise prominent for erecting huge Easter rabbits for chocolate brands. Beyond the inoffensive exterior wrapped in wood, inside you can see Alex Karp's company again do some ideological conditioning through text in slightly mismatched sans serif on the walls. And on the coffees that they called Carpuccinos, but I called the Latte Art of War. I hate to give it to them, but this one really had me foaming at the mouth. Having, through online reporting, discovered architecture that doesn't communicate anything, it was a trip to discover the installation relics like loose tubing and piping stashed at the site, which communicates such a break with the sleek, perfect image. Palantir is one of circa 100 space appropriations for the forum that happen each year in Davos. Some of this prompted me to compare the forum and its pavilions with the Biennale in Venice. A plurality of facades and houses entrusted to various actors to stylize was at the core of the idea of the first architecture Biennale in 1980, as was the vision of a single street scene of them. Venice, too, has aspired to be a forum for global dialogue, yet it's hard to look past the event's image as an industry showcase or to take its participants' real political capacity seriously. Davos' single street of facade polarity is populated by actual world leaders and arguably even more powerful tech moguls. For Palantir, just setting up their chalet-ass shop there means making its presence normal to big boys. My inquiry into Palantir didn't start in Davos. It started where most searchers do on the Google homepage, as I typed in Palantir in the search bar and clicked the link in the first result. Even the first time I open it, I'm seduced. It reads to me as classy, throws me back to Swiss design. Outside of the wording and the images, it's a pretty neutral design. When the typography is loading, it's slightly grayed out, which gives it a less aggressive look. Legitimate. There's the dominance of white, the color of innocence and transparency. Like, we've all been on the Apple website, right? Besides communicating transparency, the website here wants to convey that idea of something hyper-complex. Every time I open this page, I first fail to notice the half-opaque blurry bar at the top. It does start looking kind of sexy, tasteful, when an object in the video goes behind it. That feature specifically reminds me of some websites in fashion and e-commerce. The photos are neither stock nor corporate photo op editorial. For each of them, I tried to imagine how much staging versus allowing a photographer to shoot actual client-side deployment must have taken place. I saved the image on the right in my archive earlier, but counterintuitively, 1 month into the 2026 Iran war, the background visuals with the camera guy were gone. Before 2020 redesign part of an overall rebrand, Palantir's page was way more forgettable, conveying the flair of a mediocre software as a service company. This ex-employee of one would know. Industry reports suggest complaints that from reading the old website, he couldn't tell they work on weapon systems because it spoke vaguely and euphemistically of tech and communication. The company ended up turning for a redesign to a boutique digital agency in Brooklyn, otherwise famous for Sweetgreen's page. They worked with very young designers, including SVA graduates, who cast their nets far for references to respond to Palantir's pretty visually open brief. There's thirst in a government vendor tapping this overtly non-corporate small agency to reach beyond industry expectations for sophistication, cool kid cred, for audiences that might never even appreciate it, mind you. Scoring cool points outside of the peer group must have been on a whiteboard. If project testimony is to be believed, the website redesign brought Palantir a 1,000% increase in quality client leads. Then it was a successful tool for normalizing Palantir to their clients, which include Ferrari and Wendy's. And as the video behind me proves, the website became an obvious example to follow for other defense companies like Cesium Astro. They now spell out stuff like bring mass to the fight or protect our democracies in sans serifs over autoplane videos. It's upscale, it's slick, it's promising someone a secure militarized future. I'm calling it premium Sleekptimism, and it has metastasized. I should have clicked this earlier. Palantir did not get where they are by biting off Virgil Abloh's swag. They have relied on extensive lobbying, practices of revolving door hires between themselves and government positions, and influence through like DC think tanks and policy institutes. The Davos Pavilion only came after the company was integrated in US state agencies, the website rebrand after a successful IPO, the merge after first year of net profits. They put a lot of work into mystifying themselves to the point where even their ex-employees struggle to describe what they do. But it may be useful to remember that even their core product for military decision-making is described by commentators as glorified Jira. As some historians suggest, nothing that a different software company couldn't do. Not unexpected for a company we saw get bogged down in derivative design, Palantir can be seen as having an identity crisis between, on one hand, the beige sweatshirt stuff, and on the other, the recent militarization manifesto, or this video for the Army-Navy football game they support. Whichever you're looking at, you're being psyoped. Thank you.
All right, amazing. Vlad, you're so